Clutch is his name. Talking sports is his game.
End zone. Touchdown with no time left.
Pushing the limits.
They win on the last play of the ball game.
There are no limits.
Are you kidding?
Who can you count on to make the last throw or shot?
Wow, and the game is over.
Mikey Clutch. This is the final play.
Unbelievable. Seconds.
Clutch is his name. Talking sports is his game.
End zone. Touchdown with no time left.
Pushing the limits.
They win on the last.
And of course, I'm muted. Everything's crazy. Things starting before I need it to start. We're everywhere. We're everywhere today. We're Instagram Live, TikTok Live, X Live, and YouTube Live. My mind's going crazy. I can't keep up with it. I need a producer. I need somebody to help me here. But anyway, as I was figuring all that out and muted, trying to get this show started, big games this weekend for the NFL. We are wrapping up the season. It is the final week of the year. Lot of games. Three games that are really important this week. I'll get into those. Getting the debt-free pick 3. We're off a winning week. We won 2 games out of 3 last week. Buffalo is the one that let us down, but we had the Texans who won outright. Great week last week, 2-1, trying to finish the year strong. We're 27-28 on the year, so hopefully we can go past 500. I'm only picking 3 games. Well, I pick 3 games every week, but the 3 games I'm picking are the ones that matter this week. Every other game is so hard to kind of figure out. Week 18, teams rest a lot of starters. Guys don't play the full game. A lot of injuries, a lot of games that don't matter. So you're not going to get the teams full go. But some good matchups. We got the 3. I'll get into tomorrow's Sunday night game. I'll get into the 2 Saturday games today. But first, I want to start. Hell of a Sunday night football game last week. 49ers hosting the Bears. 49ers come out victorious and now put in play the number 1 seed tonight against Seattle. What a game, right? Fireworks show right off the bat. Both teams scoring back-to-back. 28-21 at halftime. 49 points in the first half. It looked like each team was going to go down and score when they had the ball. I went and saw with co-host on Mondays, Justin Matthews, went to Sluggers in Wrigleyville. And we were just in awe at the start. It was a magical, you couldn't ask for anything better for a game going out. Definitely the highest scoring Bears-Niners game I've seen and remember in my lifetime. I kind of went over it last week, the history of the games and the 3 games that, I've been to and attended and the outcomes. But wow, I was worried, Bears fans. I was worried. Caleb Williams slips through that last sack or that first sack, the sack attempt on the final play. Now, a lot of Bears fans complain about the clock management, timeouts that should have been called at certain points. Towards the end, giving yourself a little more time to, run a few plays instead of kind of having that last play to run. Great coverage. Coverage was not there all night. but you couldn't have asked for better coverage on that last play. Huge win for the Niners. And the Bears, this week, playing for the second seed. You definitely want to be the second seed because you're probably going to host the Eagles. Well, not probably. Well, it depends on if the Eagles win the wild card game matchup. But if both Bears and Eagles win their wild card matchups, whoever is that second seed is going to host the game. And I think the Bears are probably going to want the home field. So they do have something to play for against Detroit. But man, I couldn't believe that game. And then Brock Purdy, when he's healthy, looking good. I mean, he was moving around, slipping and sliding. I mean, he looked like really vintage, like Mahomes, how he kind of shuffles around. And I love that Collinsworth was very, Mike. But yeah, I mean, he's right? Like Mahomes, any of the scrambling quarterbacks, Lamar, Purdy is just kind of underrated. And we're kind of seeing Drake May do that for the Patriots, being able to run around and create plays. But I just like to say, I pointed this out last week too. Wasn't too worried with Kittle missing time. Yes, the run blocking is kind of where we miss him. But as far as in the passing game, I knew Brock and Tonjes were going to be on the same page. Tonjes has just been a really good pass catcher all year when Kittle's missed games. He was on the same page with Mac Jones when Mac Jones was playing. And I kind of knew that he was going to have a decent game against the Bears. And then Pearsall, coming and having a good game. And then, Juwan Jennings at the end, the huge play that put the Niners up and put the pressure on the Bears. But we'll see. Stout went out with an injury. He's questionable for tonight's game. But the Brock Purdy brilliance since coming back just can't be overstated. He has looked, a lot of people. I go back to his first year starting, gets knocked out with injury against the Eagles in the playoffs, which such an unfortunate series of events in that game. The elbow injury knocks him out. Josh Johnson comes in, gets knocked out, and Christian McCaffrey's your emergency quarterback, and Purdy comes back in and just hands the ball off because he can't throw. So when this guy is healthy and playing, this Niners offense is a top 5 offense in the league. He is I'll put him in the top 7 of QBs in the league just because of his ability to scramble and make plays with his legs and extend plays and really move the pocket. I mean, he's so good. And what I've been more impressed this year with Brock Purdy is the deep ball. I mean, was kind of up and down the last few years, but he's really thrown the deep ball nice this year. And I don't know. He's just really impressing me, especially with the offensive line that isn't as great as it had been like a few years ago. And that's even with Trent Williams out and George Kittle being able to, chip and help off the line. So hell of a game by Purdy and the Niners showing up. And I think the Bears are going to be okay in the NFC, but their defense kind of got exposed as well with a really good Niners offense being able to kind of move the ball at will. And the Niners, again, 2 punts in the game. Purdy shakes off that pick 6, which I told Justin, I turned over to Justin before the game started. I'm like, watch. I know Purdy's going to throw a pick in this game and watch it be an opening, pick 6 to start, and damn well that's what happened. I don't know. I've been good at predicting some Niners plays this year. With my prophecy picks on TikTok that I post, try to post daily. I know we've been a 2-day hiatus because of the holiday, but we're back today, so stay tuned. It is going to be a prop pick for the Niners and Seahawk game. Got a good one, and I've hit it on the last 3. I had Juwan Jennings on the Sunday night game scoring a touchdown. He scored. I had Tonjes scoring a touchdown against the Bears. That hit right away. And I had another one a few weeks. I think it was Kittle against the Colts scoring a touchdown. So I'm hot on the Niners touchdown picks. So stay tuned tonight for that on TikTok. But I'm going to move on because I will touch on the Niners a little more when I break down the Seattle game. But let's start off with the game that is going to be happening first today. And that is for a division title, potentially. Because a lot can happen. I love chaos in the NFL, and I love that we're getting 3 games today for division titles, and obviously the one, which is the Niners Seahawks for the number 1 seed. But this Panthers at Carolina Panthers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bucks kind of reeling. They are 1-5 now, 1-5 since that Baker's shoulder injury, and they had lost the 2 previous games with him in there. So 1-7, but really the 1-5, like Baker just hasn't looked himself. He was, leading the top 3, top 5 in MVP voting in the earlier parts of the year. But he kind of got that sack fumble against Buffalo towards the end of the game, really messed up his shoulder. Bridgewater starts the next game. They lose. But that Bucs offense just has not looked good. Emeka, he was looking like runaway offensive rookie of the year. That totally faded. This Bucs offense just has not looked as good as they had in the beginning of the season. This is a rematch of a couple weeks ago, where the Bucs lost to the Panthers the first time around, 23-20. They blew that game as well. This is really a lot of rumblings that Todd Bowles very much in trouble. A lot of shows have led with that as well, that he's potentially coaching for his job here this year. And if I don't, it kind of sucks, but I was about to say, I love chaos, and this NFC South. Even if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win tonight, the division's not guaranteed for them. And this is a scenario which is crazy. Atlanta Falcons play the Saints. If Atlanta Falcons win against the Saints on Sunday, no matter what happens in this game today between the Panthers and the Bucs, the Panthers are the division champions. So that's kind of a wild scenario, and I'm all for it. Like I said, if that were to happen, I'd much rather, just based on how the teams have been playing as of late, I just like the Carolina team. They're a little more fun to watch. Bryce Young, I also am rooting for him to succeed in this league. So, yeah, I'm rooting for. I definitely am rooting for the Panthers tonight. Now, who knows how this game's going to go? It's definitely going to be. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be tough. I mean, listen, you already beat them once. A lot of teams play harder. I think this is Levante David's, potential last game of his career. So will they be playing for their guy? I don't know. But I don't know. I think Bryce Young in these division games, and especially against the Bucs, has looked better and better since, starting from his rookie year. So I do think he's going to be able to move the ball. And then you got Canales, who came over last year from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he kind of knows, the strengths and weaknesses of that offense and their capabilities, but also that defense of Todd Bowles. And I think that's kind of the matchup I'm looking for, is that Carolina offense against this Tampa Bay defense. But again, it'd be crazy if Panthers lose this game to the Bucs and still win the division because of Atlanta sitting there on Sunday, with a chance to beat the New Orleans Saints. Now, I kind of think this game probably be, I think it is going to be a closer game, and I'll get into my score prediction when I do the debt-free pick 3. But I think there's going to be some touchdowns scored. The proper pick in me, the prop picks is definitely leaning towards like a Tedero McMillan touchdown, and definitely a Mike Evans touchdown. Mike Evans does have really good games historically against the Carolina Panthers. And, Adam Thielen, when he was on the team last year, I think that's kind of Tedero's role as the number 1 receiver this year. had really eaten them up, and Tedero had a good game a couple weeks ago against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So watch those two receivers in this game, and I think both quarterbacks obviously try to get the ball to them. But let's see Godwin and Ibuka step up, and the rookie McMillan as well for the Bucs. He's looked good since coming back from injury. But you gotta also keep in mind Bucky Irving on the ground. That Bucs team can run the ball very well, and I think that they should start with that and really kind of wear down that defensive line from the Carolina Panthers. But as far as score predictions, I said it. Stay tuned because I'll give it to you. Wink, wink. Spoiler alert for the debt-free pick 3 coming up. But moving on to the game that really matters tonight. Seattle Seahawks going to the San Francisco 49ers. Faithful to the Bay. I think this is going to be a good game. I think if there's one thing that one unit that can really kind of keep this hot and on fire offense of the 49ers at bay is definitely the Seattle defense, who's just been hot all year. They've just been hot almost damn near every game. Now, there were a couple games where they were really hit with the injury bug and had allowed a lot of points. But, going back to week 1, 17-13 Niners barely came out on top on that one. And that was a good game, back and forth. This is usually a defensive battle. But we'll see if Sam Darnold, right? Like, a lot of pressures on Sam Darnold to get the job done. Now, he did prove to me he could play in high pressure spots and games that really matter when he won against and came back against the Los Angeles Rams, right? The Rams haven't looked the same since, which I don't know. I think the Rams a little bit kind of ready for the playoffs to start. A lot of people were kind of ragging on how bad they looked last week in Stafford. MVP chances pretty much out the window, and Drake May's kind of the odd favorite to win it. But I put that to coaching, veteran team really being so bland on offense last week, not giving Atlanta, and they still almost won that game. You have to realize that Rams weren't really using Puka as much until, big spots where they had to make a play, right? And just the play calling was vanilla, and I think that's intentional by the Rams. So I think they're going to be okay in the playoffs. We'll see. We'll see the real Rams when the playoffs start. But back to the Seattle Niners game. As I was mentioning, I really think Sam Darnold proved a point. He had a bad 2 games last year to end the season in week 18 and in the wild card round. But this is another big moment. Now, is it just a one game that he was able to shake off that really bad interception when they're driving down and they end up winning the game? Big special teams play, which, Niners special teams, Shaheed could have another impact in the return game this week against the Niners. So we'll see about that. But a lot of focus is on Sam Darnold. And with what Caleb Williams and Phillip Rivers, who, came out of retirement after 1,800 days, what they showed against this Niners defense is a very good blueprint for the Seattle team to take advantage of. And for Sam Darnold, right, who's gone up against some of these, well, really none of these players on defense, because these are a lot of young players. When Sam Darnold, 2 years ago was on the team, and, there's no Bosa, there's no Warner, there's none of that. There's no Hargrave, who was on the interior a few years ago, and guys that he played in practice, and, Hufanga and Greenlaw, those guys are gone as well. So it is a completely different defense that was able to see in, practice when he was with his time on the Niners. But it's very, the defense is very susceptible to big plays and for allowing a lot of points, which scares me, because this, as I mentioned, the Seattle defense, if they can put just the minimum hold on the San Francisco offense, it can really allow Darnold and Njigba to go off, because Njigba the last couple games against the Niners, 2 out of the last 3 games, the Niners over 100 yards. And AJ Barner is really coming alive. He had a big game against the Rams. He scored again last week against Carolina. And then the run game for Seattle, which I'm surprised hasn't been as good as you would kind of seem to expect with both running backs, Charbonnet and K9 there, Kenneth Walker. You would think that they'd be a little more successful in the run game, but I don't know. The Niners pass rush is non-existent all year. That's kind of why Caleb was able to go for 330 yards last week and just pick them apart. He didn't even have to use his legs as much, which we're used to seeing Caleb do in big moments, but he was just able to pick them apart through the air. So that's one thing that worries me, is Darnold being able to kind of find his guys against this Niners defense. And I mentioned earlier, Stout questionable in this game. He went out last week with an injury. So that secondary for the Niners is so depleted, same as the defense has been all year. So Salah's really got his hands full, but I'm hoping that time with the Niners and Shanahan seeing things on film is going to be able to kind of give Salah some pointers. And obviously the big thing is trying to get pressure on Darnold, which as I just meant, I don't know how they're going to do it, but if they can find a way to somehow get pressure on Sam Darnold, then man, this Niners team has a shot today. But yeah, again, Kittle, Pearsall, Trent Williams, also all questionable. Now, the offense looked good without Trent and Kittle last week. Pearsall was effective in the moments that he had. But Demarcus Robinson, I got to give credit to him. It's been a next guy up all year long for the Niners, and those next guys have stepped up. We've seen it on the defensive side. D. Winters, phenomenal linebacker, been making big plays in key moments for this team. And we're just going to see. I mean, it's a divisional game, the biggest divisional game in this division in a long time. Well, actually, I guess in a few years, because we saw the Rams beat the Niners in the playoffs to go to the Super Bowl, and they go on and beat the Cincinnati Bengals. But I don't know. I want to see the Niners be able to, if the Niners can move the ball and put up, they've been on a 30-point plus tear since Purdy's taken back the reins of this offense. I mean, then the Niners are in a good spot to win the game. But McCaffrey now, he's at 399 touches on the year. He's on pace and will, barring an injury early in this game. I mean, it's his second most touches to this point in his career. He had 403 back in 2018 when he had the 1,000 receiving yard and 1,000 plus rushing yard season. He was on pace to do it again this year. He would have been the only player in NFL history to do it twice in a career, but it's in jeopardy. He needs 110 receiving yards to do it. Now, a couple years ago, he had that multiple touchdown streak ended, but the Niners were trying to give him the ball and call plays for him to get that streak and break the record, but who knows? Will they try and go for 110 today? I mean, I want to see it just because it would be another Niner to make history in a career. So I'm definitely rooting for it. Now, I don't think McCaffrey's going to go off for 110 yards receiving. I do think he is going to be effective through the out of the backfield, though. I really do. He's had some solid games against Seattle since coming over from Carolina, and I can see like a six reception, 70-yard game from him, with a couple big plays and key moments to extend drives. And hopefully, I think this is probably a field goal game tonight. Again, unless this Niners offense just stays hot, and I think it'll be kind of hard for Seattle to. I mean, not really. I guess I was going to say to keep up with the scoring power of the Niners offense, but I mean, we saw them do it against the Rams, and we saw what the Bears were able to do against the Niners, and what Indy was able to do. Teams can put up points on the Niners, so I shouldn't say that. But I don't know. I think winner right here. If Shanahan wins if the Niners and Shanahan win this game, Shanahan is the clear-cut coach of the year. And that's not being biased or a homer. I just think what he was able to do with all these injuries, and if they were to lock up a number 1 seed and 4 losses on the year and win the division, it's just, how do you not give it to him? Now, I know Vrabel's got an argument. I know Liam Cohen, who for the Jags has really turned that thing around, and Trevor Lawrence finally looks like the prince who was promised. I just don't see how it doesn't go to Shanahan with the injuries, and how this team has just continued to put up points. And listen, he's an offensive coach. Look at how he had Mac Jones looking. Mac Jones, 2,100 yards in the limited time that he's had as a Niner. And Brock Purdy, he's about to have 2,100 yards, depending on how this game goes and how he looks. But it's just, what a hell of a year for him coaching. And, give credit to Saleh. Yeah, like, the Niners give up points on defense, but what a play call at the end of the game. That coverage was phenomenal against the Bears when it's, a goal-to-go situation at the end of the game to lock up a win. And I just think with Saleh and all those injuries as well in the defense, like, there have been games where they have looked great and dominant, even on the defensive side of the ball. And yes, the worst pass rush in the league, but you really don't have anything much to work with on that side of the ball. So hoping for a Niners win, hoping for McCaffrey to get 110 receiving yards, which, yeah, I know that it's a stretch, but it's just, what Sam Darnold are we going to get tonight is obviously probably the most obvious X factor of the game. But we'll see. I'm hoping for a good game. Finally, the game that did get the Sunday night slate tomorrow, which I don't know how you don't put a number 1, a game that's going for the number 1 seed against 2 teams that, 4 or less losses in the year. I don't know how that's not Sunday Night Football, but big rivalry, NFL blue bloods, basically. Just the Ravens and Steelers. Whoever wins, they're in. Division title, number 4 seed in the AFC. So this is a big game by all accounts. Baltimore, 8-8, traveling to Pittsburgh, 9-7. I think I mentioned it last week. Tomlin, another year above 500. Just crazy that he's kept that streak alive. But here they played in week 14. Pittsburgh wins 27-22. Lamar Jackson's back in this one. He said he's ready to go. He needs to have, this is another, big moment for Lamar. This is division on the line, playoffs on the line. There's no Kansas City Chiefs, so you're really looking for Buffalo and Baltimore, either one of these teams, to get over the damn hump this year with no Chiefs in the picture and no road leading through Arrowhead. None of these late game comebacks from Mahomes. Like, the pressure is on Josh Allen and Lamar this year to go out and, I say, just make a Super Bowl appearance. The AFC is wide open, and the Patriots probably a year too early, but the AFC is for the taking this year, and a lot is going to be on Lamar tomorrow night. Now, he's just been inconsistent this year, and a lot of that is just he's been injured and banged up throughout the season. But you need a vintage Lamar game. Now, TJ Watt, he's going to be back in the lineup. This is his first game back since playing the Ravens in week 14. He had a punctured lung. So who knows? He probably won't be 100%, but you definitely need this guy in there. He's just such a big factor on that defense and creating pressure. And with Lamar, again, not being 100%, and his running game just hasn't been there all year because of it. So take advantage. And Derrick Henry, it's funny. I said last week that I picked Green Bay to win. I said in order for Baltimore to win, you need like a historic King Henry game. And what does he do? 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. And backers just couldn't stop him. So he needs to build up that. And Derrick Henry usually does get stronger at the end of the year. It's cold. It's playoff football. And in a lot of teams, it's defense and running the ball in these cold game cities, cold weather cities. And this is one of them. I mean, Pittsburgh, division rival, starts in the trenches. And if Henry can get going again, and he's got some success against Pittsburgh the last couple of years since joining Baltimore. So I would love to see a good Henry game again. In Pittsburgh, I mean, you had chances throughout the last handful of games to kind of lock up the division, and you just left it open. You have John Harbaugh. Like, is he in trouble if the Ravens lose? Like, you got a guy coaching for his job. I don't think Tomlin necessarily is coaching for his job. I just think that organization does not fire coaches just because they're not winning big, right? You go to Cowher, he only won 1 Super Bowl. Tomlin's already won and only won 1 Super Bowl. 3 coaches in, I forget the number, but in that very big period of time, I just don't think he has to worry about his job. So I think Baltimore kind of has a little more pressure and needs this win more as, an organization with the player and the coach in the starting quarterback in Lamar Jackson. So big game for him. Big game. I've been rooting for Ravens all year. I believe my Super Bowl pick was Bills Packers in the beginning of the year, but Baltimore was a close second to come out of the AFC. And I just want to see it because I want to see Lamar in the big game and win the big game. Lamar Jackson I think he kind of gets more criticism than deserved. I think he has shown up in many ways in some games, and last year's loss against the Bills does not fall on his shoulders. I know he had that bad fumble late in the game, but I mean, he still drove the team down, gave him a chance, and teammates can't execute. So I think it was just a loss that doesn't fully go on his shoulders. But this one, it's a big one. Aaron Rodgers, we'll see what happens with him. His future is up in the air as well. He came out and made a couple comments, but I don't know. I think Rodgers, the way he played this year on this team, not really having top tier weapons. I mean, he really hasn't had, DK Metcalf, but look at what that offense looked like last week without Metcalf. He really hasn't had a number 2. There's been a lot of tight end play in this offense this year, and a lot of it just could be Arthur Smith calling plays. But I don't know. I think if Rodgers has his pick, if there's a couple places that need a veteran quarterback next year, I think he can fit in. I mean, look at the Colts. I don't know if Daniel Jones, I don't know if it was a 1 year. I got to double check that, but we'll see. I think Rodgers can still play at least 1 more year. Get him a team that he needs 2 to 3 options at receiver and a solid tight end. And we'll see. He had an impact here with Pittsburgh. Maybe he can have another impact next year. He only had that 1 year deal, so he is on a free agent and will have his pick. But hey, coming back to Pittsburgh, hopefully Pittsburgh can draft a receiver or get somebody in free agency, but the team hasn't looked the greatest. But that's enough. Those are the games, because all 3 of these games, as I mentioned, are going to be in the debt-free pick 3. So I'm going to get this going because I have to do this in 2 to 3 different spots. So I'm backing out. We're going to start the debt-free pick 3.
We don't do anything illegal.
Debt-free pick 3.
Look what I found in my pocket. Look, a year's salary right here. What I call them? A fun coupon.
This is the debt-free pick 3
On the final play
with Mikey Clutch.
All right. That's right. Debt-free pick 3, 27 and 28 on the year. We had a good week, winning week last week. We had Seattle -6.5 against Carolina. Covered. Texans +1.5, which I later on said money line, after the show was the play. Just I thought they were going to win outright. I even moved the line to -1.5. And then Bills are the only ones that didn't cover. They probably wouldn't have covered it anyway if they would have made the extra point before the end of the game because they had to go for 2 they wanted to go for 2 to win it. But if they make that extra point, who knows? They may not go for 2. Well, they probably don't. Extra point wins the game. So I think that wasn't going to cover either way if they won that match. But it kind of sucks, right? The 2 weeks you stay away from in the NFL, betting wise, week 1, week 18. And just for the reasons I mentioned, not a lot of games matter this week. A lot of starters rest. A lot of, playoff teams pretty much have seeds locked up. And it's just hard to get a feel. Last year, what was it? The Patriots were looking to be the worst team in the NFL, get the number 1 draft pick, and Milton balls out against Buffalo and beats them outright. So I'm going for the 3 games I've already mentioned that are going to be this weekend, and I'm going to start with the Carolina Panthers +3.5 at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think, Carolina's offense has looked a little bit better, a little more consistent. Now they had some couple rough matchups last week, didn't look good, but guess what? You faced the number 1 defense in the league in Seattle. They were able to put up points on the Rams. They beat Tampa Bay by 3 already this year. Now, if the game were flipped, I just think this is a field goal game, and with them being +3.5, I think they'll cover. Hopefully, but we'll see. Second game, big one. Niners +3.5 at home versus Seattle. Now, Seattle has been a way better road team than home team all year, and going back to last year. Now, what worries me is the Seattle defense really being able to put a lid on this Niners offense. But I don't know. For some reason, I just think Purdy has been able to get it done no matter who is in the lineup. I think this has been one of Purdy's best year. I think his best year since becoming a starter. I just think he's gotten better and better every year since being drafted with the last pick in the draft. So I got the Niners to cover +3.5. Sorry, let me go back to Carolina. I got Carolina 24, Tampa Bay 21, because I think they're going to win outright, but they'll still cover the +3.5 even if Tampa were to win. This one, though, I want the Niners to win it. But Seattle 20 to Niners 17. I think that's going to be the outcome. Niners cover, but they lose, sadly. But I will have a big smile on my face next week if they go out and win outright. Finally, Pittsburgh Steelers at home, +3.5 against the Baltimore Ravens. I just think Tomlin, home dog, has covered the spread countless of times, even this year. So I just like it. I think Baltimore being limited with Lamar's ability running the ball, and that, that I think it's going to be a really low scoring game. I can kind of see this one being Baltimore 17 to Pittsburgh 14. These games are usually low scoring, hard fought, big hitting. But who knows? I mean, this could be week 18. Everybody throwing the kitchen sink offenses, throwing kitchen sink at each other's defenses, and this one being a shootout. But we'll see. Either way, I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 3.5. So with the 27-28 record for the year, this is my opportunity to go above 500. If we go 2-1, we're 500. We need a perfect 3-0 record this week to finish 30-28. But my 3 picks for the debt-free pick 3, as mentioned, Carolina Panthers plus 3.5, 49ers plus 3.5, Pittsburgh Steelers plus 3.5. All 3.5, all dogs, all going to cover the spread. But let's go Niners, number 1 seed, lock it up. That's going to do it for me. And the final play. Enjoy the weekend. Later.